Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to another Tea Time with Tia. I'm your host, Tia. Just wanted to do a quick video before I have to run out and do some errands today. First, before we go any further with this, I do have to say that we do have a sponsorship, of course, with Coldest Water Bottle. And I will link that down below in the description. This is the 12-ounce baby bottle, teal green. It's very portable, and yes, I will be taking this with me today as I run my errands. But let's jump right into the video. What are we talking about today? What we're talking about is the first official trailer for the Comey Rule, which is a upcoming two-part miniseries on Showtime based on former FBI James Comey's memoir called Higher Loyalty. Sorry. Now, before I go any further, I have to say that this is not going to be overtly political, my comments here, just because Geek Vibes Nation does not take a political stance on anything. Of course, there are huge conversations to be had. Certainly they should be had. It's just not something that we'll be doing necessarily. Of course, that is kind of unavoidable when you have a show like this, that even though it's actors and I will be trying my best to approach it from more of an art form. These are based on real characters. This is based on the real 2016 American election. So, of course, you cannot avoid certain political aspects of this. But that being said, we're going to try and remain as neutral as possible and just approach this as any other any other TV show that would have to do with government and espionage. So, Jeff Daniels stars as James Comey, and Brendan Gleeson stars as Donald Trump. Now, I have to say that Brendan Gleeson's makeup is really spot on. Not only is the makeup spot on, but the way his voice sounds exactly like Trump's. And I think that if you are playing this character and this type of show and this is the subject, that authenticity is key. You don't want to take any sort of liberties because it is something that will be scrutinized by the person that they are talking about in this very mini-series. So the fact that you have Brendan Gleeson, who is being insanely authentic, I mean, you have to think of it from his side, where I am sure that, I don't know where he stands on the spectrum. You would have to imagine that if he's going to be making a show like this, that he isn't, say, the biggest fan of Trump, or he could just be neutral, but he has to get into that character. And it's not the character from, SNL. It's a real life character and is portraying it in a real life fashion. So far that looks good. I am not very aware of James Comey. I didn't necessarily watch the what's it called? I didn't watch anything with him while he was doing his trial, so I can't necessarily say that I have a grasp on his mannerisms, or if even the trailer showed that Jeff Daniels did. I have to say that Jeff Daniels looks, I guess he looks like James Comey, but he definitely looks more different than James Comey, and I guess that's just because in comparison to Brendan Gleeson, who looks so much like Trump and sounds so much like Trump, I think that that's definitely going to sway in Brendan Gleeson's direction. But it looks good, the trailer, right? Not even touching upon, say, the political spectrum with it, but from a production value, it looks good. It reminded me a little of The Report with Adam Driver, in the way that it's going to do its storytelling, and I liked that a lot. It looked like a combination between The Report and, say, maybe even like House of Cards, and those are both two like hard-hitting political projects that I think it's going to be taking sort of that route. And we even saw a few actors who had appeared on, say, House of Cards appear in this trailer. So it's going to be talking about the 2016 election, the controversy between Trump's election, his involvement or potential involvement, alleged involvement, let me not get in trouble here, with the Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin. It's going to be very emotional. I saw Vanity Fair do a piece that said that the Comey Rule is an upcoming miniseries that Donald Trump is going to hate. And based on what we saw in the trailers, I think that that's going to be true. I think that's 100% going to be true. Even if they try to take a non-biased direction, just do the hard-hitting facts, I think it's still something that certain people are not going to be overly happy with. But it is what it is. I mean, this is art. Art imitates life. Art, I think so. This show is coming out on September 27th, and originally it was supposed to come out after the upcoming election, but people fought for it to be shown before the election, so that people who maybe weren't so informed will be informed before they make a decision in the election. So I think this is very important. I think that this show, this miniseries, is going to be incredibly important because it's going to show you things that you may not have necessarily been aware of if you had not been necessarily paying attention to things that were going on in politics. Now, granted, I think that people who are, say, leaning more towards the right may not necessarily even give credence to this show. They may not even watch it, so I don't know if you're going to get those people. You may get the people who are more so in the middle. But hopefully, it's not taking too many creative liberties because it is based on a memoir. And I think that if they try and dramatize events or they try to become too creative, it's going to completely miss the message that it is trying to send. But other than that, if you want to just look at it in a neutral standpoint of just watching a political miniseries, it looks really good. It looks like it's done very well. You can tell that all the actors probably were feeling very responsible while they were filming this because it is something that was so prevalent. It happened just 4 years ago, and now we have an upcoming election. So it is something that is very important to do. Again, as I said, I think Brendan Gleeson looks good. I know it sounds really strange to say that someone can look good as Trump. I know that I just said we're trying to remain neutral, but I will say that these are my own opinions. They do not reflect Geek Vibes Nation opinions. This is just Tea Time with Tia, and this is how I feel. But he looks good as Donald Trump. I know, that sounds weird. Jeff Daniels looks good in his role. I, of course, spotted Scoot McNairy in the trailer, but he's playing Rod Rosenstein, and I don't think that's going to be someone that I'm going to be rooting for as I normally do with Scoot McNairy characters. So, but that's huge for him as well to be in a show like this. I certainly think that all eyes are going to be on it, whether you're on the left, whether you're on the right, whether you're in the middle. I believe that the Comey Rule is going to be something that people are going to have their eyes on. Even though it's been a few years, I don't think that people forget that easily, as some people probably want them to forget that easily. But as I said, I am looking forward to this. Something that's a little bit more serious than what I watch, something that is more grounded in reality and very prevalent to today's age. I'll admit that probably prior to 4 years ago or so, I didn't consider myself very much into politics, and I still try to remain more in neutral lenses just to see all sides of the story. But I think that you can't be a person now who isn't really keeping an eye on what's happening with politics. So the Comey Rule is just another way to get people to start talking, get people to start wondering. And it's done with really well-known actors, and that wasn't done by mistake. So let's see what Brendan Gleeson and Jeff Daniels do with each other, regardless of what happens in real life. I think that these two actors are going to be giving one hell of a performance. It feels ominous in sometimes, especially when Trump and Comey had their one-on-one dinner with each other. It just, everything about it seems like very hard-hitting, and we'll just have to find out what happens. But I would love for you guys to let me know what you thought of the Comey Rule. Unfortunately, I have to skedaddle very soon, so I can't talk any further, but I think that anything else that I talk about may tread into more of a political spectrum, and I will wait to do an actual review show to go into that, because then at that point I can say that I'm approaching it from a show standpoint. But please like and subscribe this. I promise you, Geek Vibes Nation, we pretty much don't do 0% of anything political, so make sure you check us out for all of the geekly amazingness out there. We covered a ton of DC fandom, the Batman trailer, the Suicide Squad trailer, everything and anything in between. So make sure you check that out. Geek Vibes Podcast, we have all of that. You can find us on all major podcast channels for all of our amazing podcasts that we do, as well as our written articles of reviews, news, opinion pieces, which you can find at geekvibesnation.com. Thank you again, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And again, let me know at TiaBaby on Twitter what you thought of the Comey Rule's first official trailer. Bye.